We have CNN aviation analyst Miles O'Brien, and once again, CNN law enforcement analyst Tom Fuentes, as well as former United Airlines captain Kit Darby. I want to talk about this data recorder, very much like this one we have here on set, this flight data recorder. This is one of the second one, just like this. A second data recorder has been found, David Susi, and I think one of the questions we had was, will this tell us what position the cockpit door lock was in from this data recorder? You've got different options. Essentially, it could be open or unlocked, which it would not be in the air, you would expect, unless while the captain was leaving to go to the restroom. It could be locked but still then accessible by a code, or it could be locked and inaccessible through a code dialed in externally. Are we going to learn that?
Well, all of those things that you discussed are things that the co-pilot would have had to do from the inside of the cockpit. So now this is a retrofit aircraft. This door was not initially installed in the aircraft when it came out. So I doubt that there's going to be a channel on board that flight data recorder that would record the position of that switch. On later models of the aircraft, I believe it is in that, but this is a retrofit, so I don't think that's going to be in there.
Okay, so probably not in this one because this is a much older plane. Kit, we're learning that
right.
from the early data that Lubitz increased the speed of the aircraft as alarms were sounding. Walk us through the steps that he would have had to take to do this while the plane remained in autopilot.
Well, this is an emergency descent. The rate of descent is consistent with what the autopilot would give you if you were making a maximum descent. The speed limit would increase as you went down, and the pilot, and it's sort of typical that you would increase the speed or maintain a maximum speed to produce the maximum rate of descent. So he has training doing that. That's my guess, that he's making these speed adjustments. It's somewhat normal for an emergency descent to change the speed as you descend.
Okay, so it's a normal skill, and he just employed it, obviously, in a manner it was not meant to be employed in. Miles, people wonder if there's a way to stop this from happening, if the technology exists that could have prevented the speed from being increased like this, the route being changed the way Lubitz appeared to have changed it. We know that Airbus passed on deploying an automated system that would have prevented these kind of plans from being carried out.
Well, you have to think about the Airbus technology for a moment. It's really, the airplane is already flown by computers, and the pilot is managing that system, and there are all kinds of ways that the computer overrules the pilot. It already has a speed limit capability built into it, as Kit referred to it. I think something has been lost in translation here. He was changing the rate of descent, probably trying to just point the nose at a mountain, and the aircraft, if it was flying on auto throttles, would have maintained something less to or up to the maximum allowed speed. So he was increasing his rate of descent. Now, do you want to make it impossible for a pilot to do that? That's a dangerous thing, because if you have some rapid need to get down to a lower altitude, a decompression event or a fire, you want the pilot to be able to do that. And the same goes for this, inability to fly to a certain location at a certain level. There's some emergency reasons where you want to give the pilot some latitude. So I guess the bottom line here, eventually you have to trust the person driving the bus. We should be focused on making sure the person in that seat is trustworthy, and that's a key here.
Yeah, and after we've had so much talk in the last several months, in the last year, about how pilots rely too much on automation. In fact, I want to ask you maybe about a legal matter here, Tom. The airlines, in cases like this, they shoulder a tremendous amount of liability. So if you have it proven in a way, if it's determined that this was premeditated murder, what is Lufthansa facing in terms of liability?
Well, I think, Brianna, that Lufthansa is going to have the standard insurance package that these carriers have, could be $2 billion. So I think financially Lufthansa is not going to be hurt, but their 6-decade reputation for excellence, it's in severe trouble. And the fact that, what did they know about this pilot? When did they know it?
And
what
we
did
know
they
that
have?
they knew. We know that
we know
they were aware
exactly.
he had had severe depression.
So how could they still put him in the cockpit? That's going to be the issue for Lufthansa and the subsidiaries of Lufthansa, and it'll come up for other airlines as well. So I don't think financially it's a big issue for them.
Okay. All right. Tom Fuentes, thank you so much. Kit Darby, Miles O'Brien, and David Susi, thanks to all of you. To find out more about what you can do to help those affected by the Germanwings plane crash, as well as other air disasters, go to cnn.com/impact. And just ahead, new information about a Philadelphia woman accused of wanting to die fighting for ISIS. She's now under arrest. And the shocking details about the racist emails sent by Ferguson, Missouri police. The actual